What is going on, everyone, and welcome to ToyShopFab. And on this video, I get back to work on Corncob, my big block swapped 59 GMC pickup. All right, so last video we got the big block married to our 4L80E transmission and installed in this pickup truck. Also managed to get the passenger side header that I had to fit in this frame, and that fits very well. Might have to clearance it a little bit on the hanger for our leaf spring down there, but that is the only spot on the passenger side where that header looks like it interferes. Now on the driver's side, I mentioned that I might have to buy a set of cheap headers or cut up the one that I had and try to figure out what I can do to make it fit. And well, cutting it up was cheaper. So here's what I got. I ended up having to cut that last tube and this tube here completely off of this header. And we did clearance it just a little bit to fit around our steering box there. Not too bad, still got plenty of volume flowing through, and it clears this factory box. Now here are the tubes that I cut off that header, and my plan is to cut out some of the bins that I need to start making and start building new paths for these tubes here. We're going to cut these ones up to get the bends out of it that I need. And I'm going to be joining it with these guys here. Now here, this is two of the 180/45 or 180/90 bends, straights. So I can get a lot of angles and bends out of those two right there. I bought that as a pair, and I believe I only paid $65. They're 1 3/4 header tubes, which is the same size as I got here. So we're gonna cut these ones up. Try to get as many bends and angles out of those as I can before I cut up our new ones, and try to make a new home for it. Get a new path all the way back down to the collector. I've got a little pipe expander here I'll be using to open up some of these joints, mainly the ones on that header and down in that collector. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this header off, get it on the floor. I'll be right back. All right. Header is out on the ground. Now I've gone ahead and cleaned up a couple of areas on it already. I left one joint though, because I kind of want to show you guys this little tool here. It's really neat, especially if you've ever considered maybe modifying or building your own headers. So let me show you what I've done so far. Now here is our collector. I went ahead, cleaned it out, cut those tubes, cut around just on the back side of the weld that was here. Then took a carbide bit, cleaned out everything. So now when I am ready, these tubes will fit back inside the holes and give me at least a decent area to weld everything back together and keeping that collector. Now I've used our little pipe expander on this area already. And you can see it's kind of a pain doing it with one. There you go. I'll just hold down my foot. So now our pipe will fit inside of our flange here. I'm gonna put you guys in the stand because I'm gonna grab our little expander, open that one up as well. Kind of show you guys how this little tool works. That is neat. I don't remember where I got it. It might have been off of eBay, just a tubing expander kit. And I will recommend you put grease inside that little taper bearing and on the end here where it gets what it uses to expand the tubing. So go ahead and put you in the stand here really fast. Expand the last joint on that flange. Then I'll go ahead and let's get you down here. After I'm done expanding our flange here, go ahead and put the header back in the truck. So, all right. So now you can see here, we'll use this guy as kind of a There we go, right there. So I'm gonna use the existing tube we cut off to kind of fit it in there, but it's the same size. It does not fit. Now the way this works, it's pulling this guy. You tighten the bolt here. It pulls this into these guys here, and it expands as this goes in. Go ahead and just put it right on the inside there. Use my little impact and tighten her up. After you expand it, rotate it about, just give it maybe like 1/8 of a turn, because there's going to be little gaps in between each one of these guys here where the pipe isn't fully expanded with the rest. And that's going to help you make sure that your expansion is uniform. So, let's see how far. Let's see where. Yep. Got to go just a little bit more. You know, take your time checking every so often. That way you don't overexpand your tubing. All right. So now both areas on both flanges have been expanded to take our new tubes. So now that I have this done, and these are opened up where these joints can now slide in and out, I'll go ahead and reinstall our header back in the truck. And then I can start cutting up our existing tubes here, or at least set it up in there, figure out where I want to cut these, where I want the bins at, cut them to where I can weld them back together and get them around everything. So let me get this guy back in the truck and we'll start mocking up some tubing. All right, pilot side header has been cut, measured. The two tubes were cut, got all the little bins out of it I could, and we got this header glued back together and painted. I've got it test fit in the truck right now, and here's what it looks like. So I have just got it hanging right now by the two outside header bolts. I got enough room to get in there so I can get a gasket. Engine is sitting where it's supposed to be. If I bolt it up, bring it up to the head, you'll see the clearance I have right there. And if I bring it all the way down, I still have a little bit of clearance. So with a gasket in place and that header completely bolted up, I should have plenty of room between it and that steering box. I did leave some of the old gasket in there to kind of give me some depth of where it would be. But that header is all cleaned up, got the paper towels removed from that cylinder head, because you actually have to unbolt this engine, put a floor jack underneath it, tilt it up, get the header up in there, get the two bolts started, then put the engine back on its mount, which is fine. The way I built it, it had to curve around everything, and there's a lot of vehicles out there like that anyway, so no big deal. My front engine cross member has been cleaned up and welded as well. So now that engine is pretty much sitting where it needs to be. I don't have the motor mount bolts tight yet, so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. The truck is sitting up on jack stands right now, so I can crawl up underneath there and take some measurements of where that transmission cross member sits. I need to get it out, get it cleaned up as well, get the holes drilled in the frame so we can get that thing glued together and bolted back in the truck. So all my radiator support is out of the truck as well. I got that sitting outside. I'm gonna hit it with a wire wheel, get it cleaned up so we can get some black paint on that. I've got gaskets showing up here in a couple of days so I can get the intake off, valve covers, water pump, get all the pulleys off, get those cleaned up and painted as well. I want to get the front of this engine cleaned up and get it painted, get the green paint on it so all that can be done and we can throw that thing back together. Lot of stuff, a lot of little things need to be done. But I am gonna go ahead and get up underneath this truck, get that cross member marked, measured, get it welded up, and get it reinstalled and show you guys, well, just how everything sits. So let's go. Cross members are now all welded up. Everything is secure. Our engine is nice and secure in the frame rails. Transmission is secure in the frame rails. Everything's bolted up and sitting where it needs to be. And after I got done welding that cross member up, throwing some paint on it, I decided, just for giggles, let's see how long or what kind of drive shaft length I would need. So I took a measurement and went through all of my drive shafts I had laying around from all my different projects, from the junkyard, from Craigslist or Marketplace, my Mustang, everything that I have here. And would you believe it, I had a drive shaft the length I needed. Also had a bunch of miscellaneous U-joints and stuff laying around, conversion U-joints. Like, whatever this is like a 1310 to a 1350 back here, because this one fits the rear end of this truck, and obviously that fits that drive shaft. And I had a 4080E slip yoke, but like a Super 10 slip yoke, so it's the small 1310 U-joint, which is the same size as this drive shaft. And some of these parts I had because I messed up on previous orders I did while, you know, however long ago that was. I decided, let's just hang on to it. It's money spent. And, well, now they paid for themselves. So, we'll go ahead and get this drive shaft put in place and show you guys what it looks like. All right, drive shaft is installed. It lines up, it bolts up, and pretty much, I mean, it fits and lines up about as good as anything that's been put together using nothing but a bunch of spare parts you got laying around would fit. So super happy that's in. Granted, don't worry, 1310 is small, especially with that size rear end, or with this big block here, the 4080. I get all that. I was just happy to have it here, so when I do get it fired up and I need to move it around, it can. So should be strong enough to do burnouts is what we're gonna do with it. Probably one of the first things. So that's in there. We got it. We can move it up. We can move the truck around when it gets fired up when that time comes. Also, there is no school today, so I got Seth out here. He also does not have to work, so I'm putting this kid. I'm going to use this kid for whatever I can get out of him, because there is a lot of work that needs to be done with this truck still, and time is running out because I got to go back to work soon. But so we got him out here. He's on top of a trash can. He's got my drill with a wire wheel, and he's rebuilding our radiator support right now, getting this thing all cleaned up so we can get some new fresh paint on there, get this thing looking nice when we get it back on the truck. He's going to be hitting that with a wire wheel as well so we can undercoat the outside and get some black in here on the inside. Got our passenger side header out, got it all wire wheeled and painted, ready to go back in the truck when we receive our gaskets. And while he's been doing all of that, I have been up front on this engine because, well, I got started on the rebuild. So I'm about halfway done rebuilding this engine. Gonna go ahead now and just get it, start finishing it up. That way we can get our intake on our water pump, get all of that stuff put back on, and get this thing ready to fire up. So And I do have to say the rebuild of this thing is going extremely well. Haven't hit any issues with it whatsoever. So this thing should be a whole lot of fun once we get it all back together. And if you're wondering anything right now, like that one guy I know is wondering, I wonder if he had a ratchet and rotated the harmonic balancer to make sure he had paint all the way around. Yes, I did. So I was thinking of that. But anyways, go ahead, get you guys in the stands. Do a quick little time lapse of this guy right here. We're gonna finish rebuilding this engine, getting it ready for our intake so we can start putting it back together. And, oh, here we go. All right, engine has been completely rebuilt. Intake manifold has been painted and reinstalled on the engine. Our valve covers have been reinstalled. You guys saw me plop that throttle body on top of the intake manifold. Got the water pump painted, reinstalled, as well as the pulleys and the alternator with alternator bracket. All that is on. Headers are in and torqued. Hopefully never have to come out again. And I gotta tell you guys, I am super excited. I'm super happy on how everything in this engine bay is turning out. I'm also super happy that Seth pushed for this black and green color combo, because, well, I am a big fan of red, and most of my stuff is all red and black in some way, shape, or form. But he likes green. He pushed for the green, and I'm telling you guys, this thing looks absolutely killer. The little guy said he spent a long time out there with my electric or my cordless drill and some wire brushes, just wire wheeling the aprons, wire wheeling the radiator support, the battery box, getting everything cleaned up and painted. And well, I'm gonna tell you guys, it looks absolutely amazing. I'm going to show you guys what we got here. Like I said, I'm totally glad Seth, and here he is. He's walking up right now. But I'm super glad he picked the green. We got our co-pilot side apron installed. I got the radiator support installed, cleaned up, and actually got the factory radiator installed as well. Got a couple of hoses that were cut from some spare ones we have laying around. And I'm just... All right, here's what we got. So here is what everything is looking like so far. There's our headers. There's our engine completely rebuilt and painted. Intake manifold is on. There's our fuel injection, our throttle body. Here's what that radiator looks like. Got the belts installed. These hoses, like I said, were cut from spares we had laying around. There's our battery tray, and yes, you guys do see a battery, and what is that? Well, those are battery cables, and here I've got hooked up got the starter installed as well, because I am a very impatient person. I got one day left before I go back to work, and I've just been out here chipping away at it. This guy's been helping me when he can. I went through all of my stuff and found this guy here. This is an old HEI distributor, and everybody knows these things never fail, except for today. So I'm probably gonna install it, and it's probably not gonna work, but we're gonna give it a shot anyways. They're just a one-wire hookup. I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna give the camera to Seth, and we're gonna walk through it. I'm going to get this thing, got the number one spark plug pulled out, so we're going to bump it over, find top dead center on the compression stroke. We'll get the mark lined up. We will get our distributor dropped in, get it lined up as well. Get all of my original plug wires I had on this engine installed. Run a hot wire from the battery to the positive side of that distributor. Trickle a little bit of fuel down this throttle body here, and I really want to hear this thing bark off, because who doesn't want to hear a big block with open headers? So I'm getting real excited. I'm going to go ahead and hand you on over to Seth, and we're just going to have some fun. We're going to walk through it and hear this thing just bark. So here we go. All right, come on over here, bud. So first things first, before I drop in that distributor, number one spark plug is removed. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm going to reuse the ones I painted, okay? I don't want to spend any money, and they should work. So number one spark plug is out. That way you can put your finger over the hole and just bump the engine over. Okay, so right there is the compression stroke. Get in here. And if you look down in here, I'm not even going to turn it. This thing is set up from what it looks like to be about 2 degrees before top dead center. There is our line, so there's 0, here's after. So now that we got that figured out, go ahead and grab our spark plug, put it back in the hole. All right, get her all snugged up. Now, next, we're gonna be working on something that does intimidate quite a few people, because a lot of people are worried about messing this up. So now that we got our line on 0, got the distributor out, got the cap off. Now take this HEI distributor. We're gonna go ahead and put this cap, just set it back on for right now. And this is gonna be to the driver's side of the vehicle. And number one is going to be this guy right here. So what we are going to do is we're going to drop this guy in. We're going to point our rotor to, or very, very close to, the number one cylinder. So go ahead and get that guy here. Now, you can see down here, you see the little gap down there underneath the distributor? There's a little gap right in here. Do you see that? Yep. So you see the little gap in there. That's fine. That is caused by the oil pump drive. The distributor is not sitting all the way down on top of that oil pump drive, and that's fine. You can. Some people I've seen take the distributors back out, grab a screwdriver, and turn it the direction they need. I'm not going to do that, because now that this distributor is lined up, the gears are meshing between the distributor and the camshaft. That's where I want that rotor to sit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bump my engine over lightly. Get over here. Come on, yeah, get to where you can see this distributor. Can you see it?
One more second. All right.
Okay, so with a little bit of light pressure downwards, there we go. So now you see it drop down. So now my distributor is now lined up with our oil pump drive. So now I can take our ratchet and go ahead and just turn my engine back to where our line lines back up. Okay, so you can see here, there is our rotor, which is pointing up towards where our engine is at, or our number one piston is at. So now let's grab our cap. Blow it out because there's nothing wrong with it. Looks like she's been sitting around for a little while. Make sure all of these guys go. Okay. Make sure all that's out of the way. Oh, actually, because of where my heater hose is at, I'm most likely gonna have to move it. Let's see. That's fine. Yep. We're going to move that guy back one little notch. Guy back around. Okay. Put our engine back where it was, where it comes from. Perfect. So now it lines up better to our number one post on our distributor. So you see, there's number one. There's where the rotor's at. So now we can go ahead and put our cap on, get it locked down, get our distributor hold down in place. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that in first. Be a little easier. I really do hope this distributor works. Go ahead and snug it just a little bit. That way the distributor doesn't want to turn all over the place when this thing fires up. Like I said, this is only temporary. This distributor is not staying in this truck. I am doing this because I am an impatient person and I want to hear this thing fire before I go back to work in a day. So, all right, snug. There. This should be fairly, yep. So we are good there. Now, I am just going to set this on for right now. Give myself room so I can take it on and off. Okay. Put that there. Put that there. Go ahead and get all our distributor wires put back on. If you're wondering, it goes in a counter or a clockwise rotation. So, vacuum advances on this side. If I was to hook it up, if it was to under vacuum, it would pull the arm this way against it, which is advancing. So therefore, our rotation for our distributor is clockwise. And we got it set up for number one here. So, find a medium-sized distributor wire. I'm not going to worry about making it all nice and neat right now. I will do that later. But, so we got one. 8, which is going to be one of the shortest plug wires I have here. Yep. Looks like one of our little terminals got bent when it fell, but no big deal. 8, 4, which is the next, which is over here as well. And that is going to be 2, 4, probably this wire right here. Nice little click. 3, which is over here. That would be probably this wire. 4, 3. Like I said, I'm not going for anything that's super spectacular. So 1, 8, 4, 3, 6. Back over here. While I'm here, I might as well hook up this guy. Throw him around. This is the right here. Number 2. So this goes 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5. Seven, which is the last one on this side. Plus I want to, all this is good to do as well because now I can see how well the plug wires fit on this side that we modified, and they actually seem to fit pretty darn good actually. Okay, so firing order, since we started off here, is goes 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. And we go 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7. Just in case you didn't know. So now that we got that, plug wires are on, I'm gonna go ahead and just turn down 2 of these little hold downs here to keep our distributor cap from jumping around all over the place. And I'm super impressed because I lined the engine up with that other distributor on how well that HEI fits in here, so that's cool. All right, spark plugs are in. Make sure to plug the wires from the distributor back into our cap. These are all for our coil and stuff. Boom, now that we got that in there. And now at this point, since there is no key, there is no ignition, HEI distributors are a 1-wire hookup. So all we are going to need, and I just made the wire, I promise. There it is. Thanks, Seth.
No problem.
All right, so HEI distributors, they are a one-wire hookup. As long as you have your power and your ground and your battery are hooked up, and you've got a good body ground, you have a good engine ground, you have good grounds. All you have to do is hook this guy up to the battery side of the distributor, and you'll be able to tell which one that is, because on the cap it says battery and tack. So if you're gonna hook up a tack, you just run a wire from here to your tachometer. So battery, tack. But now that we got this guy hooked up to the power side of our distributor, I'm just gonna run it in between the bolt and the battery cable, hopefully, and hope that it's enough to power everything up. Now, truthfully, let me grab a spark plug before I go dumping any fuel down anything and risk washing the rings and stuff like that out. Let's just put a spark plug in the hole or on one of these wires and just crank it over to see what we have. So, see if you can see it. We got spark. So that distributor works. Were you able to see it?
Not on camera, no.
It does have spark though. So now that we had it lined up, it should be a little bit advanced. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just open the throttle body up just a little bit. Just dump a little bit of fuel down there. Cross our fingers, plug your ears. Let's see if we get fire. Yes! All right. Let's see if we can get it just a little bit longer, okay? All right. Let's put it to the distributor just a hair. Like I said, it's not timed. I'm amazed this distributor works. But like I said, they hardly ever fail, especially if they're original. This is cool. Very, very cool. Give it a little bit of... No, I'm not. It's stuck. I have to fix that. All right. Let's give ourselves a little bit more fuel. Oh yeah! All right, I just wanted to make sure I was trying to at least pull most of the fuel out of that intake manifold. So there is no fuel running to it. It's just a throttle body. We've all seen the videos of the guy with the fuel above the carburetor and have a little bit of a backfire. And so I'm counting this as a win. Let me go ahead and pull this little cable. We heard this engine bark off, so we know spark plugs are good. We know everything is set up good. Hopefully me being somewhat impatient as well and wanting to hear this fire helped some of you guys understand how easily it can be timed. It's really, really simple. I'm just super excited to hear this engine fire up. It's been sitting underneath that bench for a little while. I'm super glad this kid has been up here helping me with this as well. I can't wait to get this to the point where it's got good brakes. We can get it shifting. Get him in it. Get him driving. Get him doing some donuts, some burnouts. Take it up the drag strip. You know, have fun with this thing. Maybe even get them to put it in the, I don't know, parades, you know, something like that. So I'm super excited with how far we've been able to come with this truck so far. And really, and just using a lot of the parts I had already had laying around here collecting dust. Figured it's just a good idea. Let's get it off the ground. Either I had choices, either sell them or use them. And well, I'd much rather use them. So, but there's where we're at with Corncob now. We have the big block in. Everything is fully rebuilt. Transmissions installed. Headers are built. It cranks over. It fires, right? But I have ran myself completely at a time now. I have got to get cleaned up and I have got to get ready to go to work. So again, you guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps some of you guys get out in the driveway, get out in the garage, work on your projects, get it fired up, because you can go a long ways with stuff you got laying around and spray paint. And if you don't have it, you can get on eBay. You can get on Marketplace. So, but anyways, guys, thank you again for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you have not already. Keep up to date with Corncob and all my other projects by turning on notifications. Give me a thumbs up. Come back and watch this guy right here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you on the next one.